I'd just like to take a minute to introduce the faces to you and tell you a little bit about who they are and where they come from, so you have a better understanding of the backdrop of this conversation. Bhupinder Singh is General Manager and CFO at Dalma Mall. He's had 25 years of retail and shopping mall management experience. He aims to bring a functional edge to real estate, mixed use, retail, entertainment, and hospitality. Brad Merchant is Director of Retail Asset Management at Aldar Properties. He's the Director of Retail Asset Management, as I mentioned. He leads the property management, leasing, and retail delivery teams, and they're responsible for more than 7 million square feet of retail and mixed-use space that's across spaces like Abu Dhabi, Al Ain, and Kazakhstan as well. He's now leading the Al Jimmy Mall expansion. That's more than 400 million dirham. Furqan Akhtar is Partner and Director of Strategy at MacArthur & Company. Over the last 2 decades, he's been looking at the financial and administrative strategic planning and management of many successful shopping centers and mixed-use developments, both in the Middle East and in Africa. Mazin Kandil is Leasing Director for Hamad Property Company. That's where he manages the portfolios of properties under the company management from leasing perspective across Saudi Arabia. They've now got more than 23 properties of different scales in 10 cities, and they're dealing with more than 1,100,000 square meters in terms of the space that they're overseeing. Mohammed Galal is founder and chairman of the Tasweeq Shopping Malls, or TSM. He's the founder of that organization, and he's been part of the mall management and retail industry since 1999, so several cycles that he's seen. Nisreen Bustani heads Public Relations and Corporate Communications at Mercato in Town Centre, Jumeirah. She joined the group in 2013. She's been handling corporate communications for them. She started her career in the fashion and retail industry, working for the Altair Group, and she's also worked with brands like Dolce & Gabbana. And holding that conversation together and steering it forward, really, is our moderator for this panel, Luca Cappucciti, who heads Global Business Development at Design International. He's been part of the retail and property development industry and a member of several leading industry affiliations. He also heads the Design International Global Business, and he's been looking to expand that since 2013. So really, there's a wealth of opinion that's going to be generated from the real estate community starting now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll hand it over to you now.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I understand it's second day, is after lunch, so we will try to keep the conversation a little bit, spicy and interesting, and not formal. I will put some Italian, as I'm Italian, on the panel, being maybe less formal and less diplomatic, and just have a conversation, friendly conversation with the audience and with my panelists here. To try to discuss something real, some examples that the global market is giving us, with, of course, a focus here in the Middle East, but having, again, less theory and less general opinions, and look the real picture. So, staying on the being very, very frankly and very direct. Excuse me. Every year, in the past, I would say 10, 15 years now, in every conference we all attend as a speaker, as a public, we ended up to listen to this conversation regarding the influence, the big influence of this internet and online retail that is going to kill us. Again, even this year, in January, there was the same issue going on. And to be honest with you, I travel around the globe and we have projects all over the world. This is not going to happen again. And to be honest with you, this is never going to happen again. So the online business is not killing and will not kill, never, the physical shopping centers and the physical retail, to me. What you know, my background when I was in Italy in the high school, I was, you know, as a teenager, high school was, we used to study ancient Greek and Latin, no? Still we do. There is an ancient Greek, very special word which says, o anthropos politikon esti. That means that the man is a social animal. So based on that, and based on just the conversation, and you know, I'm just sharing with you, is that this is something that is in the DNA, is Darwin, is not the progress, nothing to do with technology and with the future. It's something inside us as a human being. We like to go outside. We like to be with people, we speak with people, we share ideas, and we share fun, and we share culture with people. You cannot be staying in your couch and typing on your phone, on your computer. I'm sorry. So that, I was very direct on that. I would like to have from you like a, you know, your personal opinion, not going through analysis, but again, your real, direct personal opinion in that. And let's open the panel. Right.
Do you want me to take that
Please.
first? So in the interest of controversy, I'm going to maybe disagree with you a little bit, Luca, in that we have indeed been talking about online and the threat of online against bricks and mortar retail for 15 years, easily. I think it comes up at every one of these sessions, every panel I've ever seen or participated in. It's a topic of conversation. And even though online share of spend, depending on what studies you look at, may only amount to 5, 6, 7% of the total retail business, it is growing exponentially. Brick and mortar retail is flatlining in a lot of cases. We're showing just barely inflationary growth, whereas online retailing is, the curve is much steeper. And so having talked about this for so many years, you know, on and on again, I would say personally, in the last, call it 3 years, I'm starting to get nervous about the impact of online shopping, and it has begun to and will continue to fundamentally change our business as retail real estate entrepreneurs. But that does not, and here's where I'll agree with you, that does not mean that online is going to kill bricks and mortar retail. We're seeing countless examples, and I think we heard some on the Young Turk panel this morning, where businesses that began as pure online plays are now seeing the value to having a bricks and mortar presence. And we could get into the whole discussion around omni-channel and serving your customer at every touch point that you can. I just think that, you know, retailers are among the most innovative and creative people on the planet, always have been and will continue to be so. And when they see opportunity, they're the first to seize it. When they see threat, they're the first to respond to it. And so we see the mix in our shopping centers evolving from one where the consumer used to go to the mall to shop first, and then, oh, by the way, grab a bite to eat. And now that's shifted to consumers going to the malls to go grab something to eat. And, oh, by the way, maybe we'll shop while we're there as well. So we see 10%, 15%, even pushing 20% of our mix being dedicated to F&B and leisure. And that's a trend that will continue and should continue, promoting duration of stay, increasing average spend, et cetera. So we will evolve, we will meet that challenge, but I think it's as difficult now as I've ever seen it.
Thank you, Brad. Mohammed.
Well, first of all, thank you, all of you being here today, and I hope will be as interesting and also informational to you. Basically, we are in this panel, we are from different backgrounds, real estate, shopping centers, real estate, shopping centers, and retail. Online can't be ignored. I am in the business of management of shopping centers, and what we have decided to do is that we decided to go ahead and be innovative and try to use the online shopping to the best interest of our shopping centers. So what we have done is very simple, is that we decided to put in the elevators of the shopping center, specific shopping center in Cairo, Egypt, screens, and those screens are wired, and we are basically showcasing products from the shops in the mall onto that screen. So while the customer is getting onto the shopping center from the parking to the shopping center to the floors, he's enjoying not advertisements like most of the companies should do, but we've put items, and those items are not offered for sale online, but we've used the online look experience that customers are seeing on their phones and the internet to basically put it there for them. But still, we are not encouraging them to go online. They go to the shops. They go now specifically and ask for a specific item that is price tagged at a discount value. And the experience, the shopping experience still is taking place inside the mall, inside the shop. But we're trying a little bit to play the role of online shopping. It's not online, of course, we're faking it. Is online a trend? Yes, it is a trend. Is it a dying trend? No. Proof that it's improving and increasing and enhancing, and more companies and specialized companies are now established and nurturing around online shopping. Why is online shopping getting so widespread? I think the main reason is price conscience. The consumer today, the client, the customer, the household is really looking for the price. And whether that price is a luxury item that can be purchased online and where the taxes are removed so they are cheaper than when they go and buy it from the shop, or whether the shop is too far and commuting time to the store is expensive to that shopper, so they just decide to go for the cheapest or the cheaper way and just acquire it online. Will it continue? It will. We're seeing it much more today with the food industry, with the grocery, with the hypermarkets, supermarkets. I've been to Paris a few weeks ago, and I was really surprised walking into an Auchan store, and that Auchan store was all online, but it's not really online. You walk into the store, and you use your mobile, and you scan all the codes there. The items are not there. And by the time you have really finished your experience and you've paid with a credit card, you go out, on the way out of the store, you find all your items there, you just take it and leave. So it's again, a way of online or electronic shopping. Do we, as shopping centers, developers, and managers, like to see online getting more and more appealing to the consumers? Of course, no. Because we still want the consumers and the clients to come to our shopping centers and enjoy the experience at the shopping centers.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Farkar.
Good afternoon. It's like saying that are the lions in trouble because the rabbits are increasing in the forest? No, the lions have their own position in the forest, and so do the rabbits. And it's not either or. It's and probably. Because just to complete the first joke, the lion has to turn into a dinosaur before it gets extinct or killed. And that will only happen if nothing is done about it. But if you look at the way the industry is changing itself, reinvigorating itself, adding other elements to the mall is becoming as much dynamic as the online industry itself. So if you look at the way the malls have been moving forward, it's become more about entertainment, about experiential treatment, about gathering as a social meeting place, about adding elements that would have never existed in a mall before. You can't really go to a doctor online, although people think Google is a doctor, but you still need to go to a hospital. So people have started attaching elements like that within a mall. If you talk about, you can play games online, but you still like to go to the ice rink. You can buy a grocery online, but sometimes you like to feel the product. You can buy a lot of things online, but sometimes you want to try on something as well. So it's not food the same thing. Sometimes you want to be served instead of going and just picking up the food and eating it off a box. So why does it have to be either or? Why do even, I think it's more of a media topic that people like about online versus online. It's and actually. It's clearly and will always be. People will not choose either or. People will always be able to decide whether today they want to be entertained or today they want to entertain themselves. Or do they want to be able to be hands-on or they want someone else to take care of them? Do they want to be physical with the games or do they just want to sit home and just play a game quickly? Time also is the biggest element. When you don't have time, you automatically go for online. When you do have time, obviously you'd like to go to a mall. Now there's some clear areas where online versus retail does not make sense. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're just buying a ticket. You just want to go to travel agency and say, give me the ticket. My experience will be post the buying of the ticket. So you'd rather do that online because going to travel agency will not really add anything to it unless you're trying to buy a travel holiday where you want to discuss with somebody. So there are some things which online will increase in, quicker delivery, repeat purchases, online purchases of things where the experience will be later on, tickets and concerts being one of them. So there's a very clear distinction between the two areas, and as long as people think of complementing each other, they will be comfortable. The time you think about competition, you will be sort of, creating another anxiety issue which should not be there.
Thank you, Furkan. Mazen?
I believe, like Furkan, there is no competition or fighting between online and offline. As we create spaces in our malls for activities and categories that cannot be online, this is where we are heading to. And I can give example for our latest mall, Riyadh Park in Riyadh. Around 50% of the GLA is activities and categories that not related to fashion, F&B and entertainment and so on. So I think as much as the brands spend more in online investment, their physical shops will be better. And I had a discussion yesterday with one of Shalhoub host brand for beauty, and he told me specifically about Saudi Arabia for the last year when they invest more on their online website and delivery to home, their physical shops getting better sales. So it's really complement. It's not a competition between this and that. So this is generally what we believe. For us as developer, we need to focus more on things that non-fashion or non-accessories or non-beauty stuff to make the mall a destination for socialize rather than pure shopping space.
Thank you, Mazen. Mr. Bhupinder.
I think I share the same view what the panels have already discussed. And I would say online versus offline, they will both coexist. They will, complement each other. If you look at what is happening in this market, and I will talk about only Middle East at the moment, there have been some studies saying the online has penetrated the market, and we have achieved only 4 to 5% of the share of the total market. So it means still 95% sits with the offline. Now this 95% offline, how to sustain that and how to maintain that again goes back to how the developers bring in an experience for the customer to increase the visitations in the mall. That is the key. And I think taking a lead from there, you have been seeing the shopping malls have been reinventing themselves. Earlier, probably 10% of the GLA was food and entertainment. Now, probably that has reached to 35% of the GLA. So that basically you are creating a bigger experience within the mall so that people come and unwind. And when they come and unwind, they have other opportunities. Okay, now come the discounting factor which you get on the online shopping, which is normally a big attraction with the time constraint. Like you have time constraint, you want to go into online shopping with the discounts also. Look in the recent past, 3 years or 4 years, I would say, all the shopping malls have started doing their annual promotions 4 to 5 times in a year. They don't want to lose on any opportunity to do any promotion. Earlier, Mother's Day used to be an event. Now the Mother's Day has become a full-fledged promotional period where we want to spend like 15 days with our customers. We want to excite them to come to the mall, come and shop with us, win this, win that. So basically, the shopping mall also is trying to be the leader, which they will remain, because that the market again tells us when you look at 10 to 15 million square feet of retail is in pipeline in next 5 years. So that gives us a big belief that this is going to sustain and this is going to remain. So that's what my feel is. And since I come from the developer side, I can see it, the shopping mall are going to emerge further stronger. Online will definitely be there, but to an extent, complementing it rather competing. Thank you.
Thank you. Nisreen, based on your Mercato Mall, what's
Yes.
your experience?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, as they said, shopping malls is not only a place for shopping, it's a destination. It's a social hub where, for example, Mercato as a shopping mall, you can see it as a place for women to socialize. Like we have 70% of our clients and customers are females and families. So you can see a lot of clients coming to grab a cup of coffee, to grab a sandwich. A lot of moms like to go to the entertainment, leave their kids in the kids play area, or watch a movie. So at the end of the day, the shopping mall is not only a place where you go for shopping, you have a lot of engagement at the same time in a shopping mall. Well, I believe also online shopping is not the same therapy and experience as a physical shopping, because we are talking also about a generation who are not really computer savvy, and they prefer to go and do the actual shopping because they are still not into technology as the young generation. So we still have our own clients, we have our own shoppers who like to come, enjoy the ambience, enjoy the architect, because it's at the end of the day, how you feel, your feel, and the look of the mall is very important as well to attract more people to your malls. And entertainment-wise, we work on a full calendar of events where we get a lot of families coming, where we have workshops for kids, keep them entertained, where moms go and do a few shoppings, and we work on some also women events where women can come and get a lot of recipes, cooking classes, experiences. So shopping mall is not only for shopping, it can be another destination, a social hub where you can learn a lot of new things as well. And this is one of the strategies we are working on it in our approach for next years as well.
Well, thank you. You just give me the green light for the next question, actually. Thank you so much. So, Brad, as an asset manager director of one of the biggest and most relevant company in the world, I would say, internationally, we always, as your company and many other developers, either in the Middle East and in Far East especially, talking about China, but Thailand as well, where there are 2 or 3 big developers, very innovative, I would say. You are very familiar, of course, either with pure big shopping mall, pure commercial projects, and mixed use as well. So especially, let's say in the Far East, as I was mentioning before, in big cities like Bangkok or Shanghai, you have easily find big competitors in terms of shopping mall developers competing at the same level, usually at the luxury level. And it's a very, very tough competition, because that's thing in that part of the world I don't understand, but in the same road, main road, you have back-to-back or face-to-face luxury shopping centers, that's a pure luxury destination, selling exactly the same products and the same brands. So I just go across the street, or I take a tunnel, and it's different environment, yes, but same offer. According to you, what is today, looking of course at your upcoming project, the real point of differentiation in this kind of segment towards your competitors? What your shopping mall must have to compete at the proper level with your competitors?
I know the answer to this. We must have customers. I'm not 100% clear, Luca, on whether you're asking me specifically about the luxury business or about retail real estate across different formats.
Yeah.
And so we don't trade at Eldar in the luxury business at this point in time, and maybe that's a good thing at this point in time, not to say we wouldn't want to get into that area. So we operate with three very distinct retail businesses. We have a community retail portfolio that supports the Eldar residential growth plan. We have mixed use in downtown Abu Dhabi, as well as a development scheme in Astana, Kazakhstan. And then we have super regional retail in the form of Yas Mall. So these are very, very distinct enterprises, and you cannot treat them with a cookie cutter approach. There are certainly commonalities, there are certain process and procedural and platform synergies that we get as a portfolio, but these are very distinct businesses. So in the community portfolio, we view that as an opportunity to be a reflection of the residential communities in which we operate. I worry a little bit in that space about groups that are looking to go out and establish, let's call them medium-sized, small to medium-sized enclosed shopping centers of, say, 500,000 square feet that want to serve a particular residential community. I think we've seen examples globally where the streets are littered with dying, smaller community centers. There is an opportunity there, but from our point of view, we see it as being a complement to the residential plan. So that's a very, very different retail customer. That's a little bit more about convenience. It's a little bit more about direct, personal, one-on-one engagement with the customers within that residential community. Oftentimes, it's an opportunity to introduce mom and pop or one-off newer startup retail businesses because they're well suited to serving that local catchment. Mixed use, entirely different animal, and depending on the market in which you trade, but you're looking at trying to generate footfall and turnover in a reasonably compressed time period. So where you're serving a 60-story office building with 5,000 occupants that really are there between, call it 10 and 3 during the day, so you've got a good daytime working population. That's a very different requirement for a consumer than in a community retail space or in a super regional space. So I guess that's a very long way of saying where we tend to focus our energy is very much on the know your customer side of the business. So we try to study and learn and collect as much data as we possibly can about the customers within those various buckets and what do we need to provide to serve that customer in the most efficient, most effective manner. Is there sort of a one-size-fits-all solution to that? No, but there are certainly trends at this time in our evolution. So as I sort of mentioned earlier on the other question, extending stay, extending dwell time, very, very important. That's the introduction of F&B, leisure, attractions, public space, public art. We look at all those areas to be able to, again, extend that stay, trying to win the hearts and minds of consumers so that top of mind, their favorite shopping destination, with all due respect, Rupinder, is in Abu Dhabi is Yas, and that's sort of what we try to instill.
And do you think, again, based on what Nisreen was saying before, that keeping, in terms of differentiation of offer, keeping your customer curious is another formula? Like the offer, yes, you can track whatever are the behavior of your customer. But do you think that another recipe can be having always something new in your shopping mall going on so your customer can see what's new, what's going on?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point, Luca, in that retail evolves, retail is dynamic, it is ever changing, and retail real estate follows the retailer. So your experience in, again, community retail is a little bit different, but if it's the large mixed-use scheme or if it's a super regional mall, there's an expectation by today's consumer that they're seeing something new and different every time they visit. And it may be subtle or it may be grand, but think about their experience online, bombarded with images and new and different 50 times a day. They want that experience to a certain extent when they get out off their couch, into their car, into the shopping center.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mohammed, you have a big experience and the background in terms of entertainment, what's shows and whatever is entertaining in a shopping mall. What's your idea in terms of differentiation?
Topping on the discussion we're having now, basically the shopping center is not a closed environment. It's not being in a hospital. It's not being in an ER room. A shopping center today is, as mentioned by my peers here, is a lifestyle. It's an experience, and the consumer today would like to enjoy all the aspects, the joyful aspects of his life into the shopping center that is visiting. That's why we have successful shopping centers versus not doing so well shopping centers. Entertainment, of course, is the topic, but the definition of entertainment has developed and evolved with the years. Entertainment at the beginning, in the minds of everyone, was basically the kids' entertainment, the cinema, and that's it. Now we've been hearing food entertainment, audio entertainment, shop entertainment. So entertainment is now being attached to every function that we do in our life. I'm sure that in few years we'll have like medical entertainment. Maybe it's already existing somehow. But entertainment in general is, I think, the main objective today of any developer or of any shopping center management company or operator, and even the retailers. Recently, I think all of you have visited the Gosport boutique at Mall of the Emirates, or Anchor at Mall of the Emirates. So that was a sports anchor, interesting. And now it's one of those stores where you go, it's a type of entertainment. I'm sure that we'll see more of those concepts evolving. Restaurants, we've seen it in some of the concepts. You cook yourself. It's a type of entertainment. Previously, it was you go and select the ingredients of your food. Now it's you cook yourself. Later on, I'm sure it will be, I don't know, somebody will invent something. Shopping, normal fashion shopping, we haven't seen it. We haven't been requested yet to really do our clothing in the shops yet, but I'm sure somebody will come up with something. Nike and the shoes a few years ago, they've started with personalizing your shoe. It's a type of entertainment. When you go to, it used to be online, but now no, not anymore. You can walk into an Adidas store or a Nike store, and you have that special corner for the fans, and you see a lot of you sitting there and basically personalizing their shoe and their t-shirt inside the store. It's again a way of enjoying the shopping experience. Going back to entertainment, the classical entertainment. Cinemas, you used to have the 360 degrees experience, and used to sit and not do anything and just watch everything around you. And then came the 3D, and now is coming the moving chairs and water and the rain, everything. You're living the experience. What's next? I'm sure something is coming next. But really, are all of these crazy entertainment concepts, are we able to do it in an environment or in a world economy where really the cash now is becoming so expensive? A few years ago, cash was cheap. I always use this statement. Cash was cheap. Today, cash is not cheap anymore. And we have to come up with innovative, inexpensive entertainment concepts that creates the interesting lifestyle experience for the customers and the clients. Today, or recently, we've been seeing the food trucks. Food trucks is now being combined into shopping centers. Why? Because it's a new, innovative lifestyle way, and people are enjoying the food trucks. They're not really enjoying the food trucks per se, but they're enjoying the experience of being like on high streets. Closed shopping centers, those closed bulbs, are not anymore the hype. Customers and consumers, families, households would like to go out, and not in all the cities you have the parks and you have the luxury of the nice weather or of being able to be there always outdoor. So combining the outdoor experience which we had in shopping centers a few years ago by having the outdoor seating for the cafes now is not enough. The consumer would like the high street experience and not the covered one. They are willing to go through the climate changes, whether it's too cold, whether it's too warm, but still enjoy that feel of being indoor, outdoor, food trucks, a little bit of retail, a bazaar over there, or copying an old narrow street in Milan or in Italy or in Europe. And what we have noticed also lately, which is again part of the entertainment that we offer to consumers and customers in shopping centers, and that was reflected in the architectural. You're an architect yourself, and used to basically portray this in the shopping centers by having a nice ceiling of a sky, or in Mercato, for example, that was really interesting. It's a very fresh environment when you walk in, but not enough. Now the ceiling is getting open, so it's not just the closed ceiling and the sky, fake sky. Now it's the open sky. And again, also with architectural and combining all the elements of the classical cities, because this is really the essence. In a city like Dubai, I love Dubai. I'm Egyptian, I live in Cairo, and my business is in Cairo. But coming to Dubai is like going to Vegas, you know? It's like every time I see something different. It's enjoyable. But I think that people living in Dubai, now they want the different experience. They want the open experience. They want the cultural experience.
Thank you. I think I can leave after this because he touched all my points. So I'm useless. But anyway, thank you. No, you were talking about cinemas, the importance of cinemas still. And this is my question for Mazen, actually. Hamad is mainly in Saudi as a shopping centers and properties. And we know we still you don't have cinemas as entertainment. I'm sure very soon, anyway, but you will tell me. So I guess that the real new experience, the attraction, major attraction for your customers is the F&B offer, right? Yeah. So do you think that it's time, in terms of a market being mature for Saudi, to not looking only at the big, well-known international F&B brands, but maybe start giving some space, as Mohammed was telling before, to more artisan-based food truck, different taste from the world and different taste from other culture. Do you think it's...
Yeah, we think and we are looking for it, but and sometimes we get difficulties for those concepts, even if they are available in Dubai, to be convinced to be in Saudi. How to run the business and F&B and authority permissions, all those are obstacles for F&B concepts. We've seen more of the expansion in F&B concepts coming from groups who they already have presence in Saudi, like Shaya and Azadiya. But back to the basic question about what is the element that can make a differentiation. We are lucky enough that in Saudi, and maybe this is some people seeing a disadvantage, that the option of leisure and entertainment in Saudi is very limited. There is no museum, there is no theme parks, there is no big gardens, there is no water theme parks. So most of the option for the families to do entertain is to go to the shopping centers. This is the advantage, but also the challenge we are facing today that the proximity and easy to travel to Dubai or to Qatar from Saudi is make the competition for us harder. From Dammam city, only for 50 minutes you can fly from Dammam to Dubai, for 2 hours to Riyadh. Actually, crossing the bridge from Dammam to Bahrain is taking longer than fly to Dubai by flight. So to compete with this is really making the competition harder for us, but investing in F&B, investing in new concept of entertainment, and hopefully down the road, cinema to be permitted will make a big change to the future of shopping center in Saudi.
Thank you. To your opinion, is about time? I mean,
yeah,
it's mature for
according to the latest release from the head of entertainment authority that they are still studying. The rumors talking about end of 2018, beginning of 2019. It's not in the priority for their agenda, but like a lot of things was a couple of years not allowed, eventually it will come. And to be honest, cinema at the beginning, it will boom, really, in shopping center. But then it will be just a typical element.
Yes.
So yeah, it's going to make a difference at the couple of years at the beginning, but then you have to invent something new. So this is the norm of the business.
Thank you. Furkan, what do you think, what you see, based on staying on this topic, what is missing in Middle East now in terms of entertainment in shopping centers? Look at the big global picture.
Well, the only element that was missing was these destinational theme parks and amusement centers. And you can see suddenly that there's a Warner Brothers being announced in Abu Dhabi, and then you've got the Dubai Leisure Park, Dubai theme parks opening up. There's the IMG World of Adventure opening up, and obviously Six Flags has been announced. So that element was missing. Now, you can't really call it pure shopping center, but it is entertainment, and it is outdoor, and it is a part of the social experience of people. And within it, there is retail as well, whether F&B, whether memorabilia, or whether the apparel of the superheroes that you might call it. So that element is opening up as well. And if you talk about shopping center as a tourism business, then obviously that will impact tourism or retail real estate in an even bigger way, because you're talking about the main issue used to be how do you increase the dwell time of people? And the dwell time in a community mall for somebody might be half an hour to an hour, and in a mid-sized mall over the weekend might be 2 hours, and in a destination mall, you might even reach 3 hours, and that's it. But if you start developing destination properties, then the dwell time becomes in the number of days. So as an example, a place like Dubai Mall would become a superset, and Dubai itself is a subset, because they're coming for Dubai Mall, which is inside Dubai. And that is what happens when you start opening up all of these entertainment centers, like the leisure parks. You go to Warner Brothers, now which one, in Florida or somewhere else? And Dubai is going to soon become that for the region. So the Middle East was yearning for these theme parks and these amusement centers to open up, where the hotel industry would benefit from people staying for multiple number of days and combining the vacation with the mall and the entertainment and the other elements as well. And that is going to give a real boost to the region. And that was one major element missing, where all the Middle Eastern and North African and maybe Asian people used to travel westward for most of these things. There was no choice. You want to go to Disney Paris, or you want to go to Warner Brothers and all of that. Now, if there's available in this region, even a Bollywood theme park is being developed, just so that the people in that region, Asia, which is India being 1.2 billion, even if they want to transcend or take that theme or that leap into theme parks, they won't understand it so easily. So they've made that transition so that even the Bollywood can be absorbed within that market. So I believe that these amusement parks that are being developed, especially in the region, will have a major, major impact on the Middle East and the North African consumer coming back inward instead of going out, and the dwell time is increasing, the number of days increasing, and probably having maybe 2 to 3 vacations a year, where this new thing which is being talked about, staycation. So a lot of Dubaiites, yes, I mean, I can't help it, man. I live 20 minutes away from Dubai Mall, so I end up going there thrice a week. Okay, I can't help it, sorry. Time to take my medicine. So basically, I used to go travel abroad because I can't go to the Dubai Mall every week. It doesn't seem that alluring for me anymore. So what do? I used to travel to other places, but now that all of these entertainment will come up, amusement will come up in the region, there are a lot of Dubaiites and people who live over here who will also start populating our own region. So I think for the Middle East in particular, these amusement parks opening up is a major drive forward.
Thank you. Bhupinder, what is the must-have for your neighborhood malls?
See, neighborhood mall by definition, it says that you should have some people around it and there should be a new community or the old community which you develop. Now, you have to feed that community. That community can be a larger size or a smaller size. And accordingly, you do either neighborhood mall or for that matter, you can do a community mall. So whatever way you go by the need of the audiences around you. And particularly when you look at this, you look at maybe having a mini hypermarket or a supermarket for that matter. That is kind of a must for one of those community center as well as neighborhood mall. Then you can think of having some pharmacies around it, coffee shops, and maybe some fast food where people can go and grab their bite. So these kind of activities in 20 to 30 stores around you that really help you. And of late we have seen this neighborhood mall and community mall. They have taken a lot of prominence. As the city grows, the population grows, and with the population, city grows. So in any growth, you need some sort of an element so that it excites people to go in and invest in there. Okay, if it's not there, then okay, why would want to invest? There are 2 reasons to invest: is to gain something out of it and to use it. I think people don't want to invest these days to only use it. They want to have some long-term gain out of it. So when you're going to a place where you have all these opportunities, like community mall or for that matter, neighborhood mall, that basically allows you comfort, easy shopping, so that's a quick shopping you can do. And at the same time, city is growing, the value addition is happening to your asset, individual asset of a customer and as well as the developer. And developer in general, I mean, these days I've seen, because they earn good ROI on this, because investment is less, probably return per square feet is enormous, are very keen to invest into the neighborhood malls. And of late, you'll see every community, particularly in Dubai, every community developed, they have a neighborhood mall. They don't care whether they have a monster around them, like they don't care there's a super regional mall around it, but still they will have a neighborhood or a community mall to earn out of it.
Thank you.
To interrupt and tap on this, for the last 2 years, we build and operate 8 new projects. All of them are outdoor community centers. And 2 out of our coming 7 are community centers. In Riyadh, in main cities like Dammam, Riyadh, and Jeddah, it's like a mushroom. So you can find it in all corners of neighborhoods. It's getting demanded by consumer, easy for retailer, and it's good even for the landlord because it's less operation cost and less investment capital to build. So it's not only about those big shopping centers, but there is another market for outdoor, small scale, covering the neighborhood, big market for it in Saudi.
You want to add something, Nisreen?
For entertainment?
Yeah.
No, actually there should be, there is 2 perceptions for entertainment. There are customers who are coming to you because you have already entertainment in your shopping mall. And there is special campaigns where you work on a private concept, on different theme, different decor to attract more people to your mall. And this is very challenging because we are focusing on different age groups. For example, last Dubai Summer Surprises, we hosted Circus Fiesta. and the demand was really high. We got a lot of calls from Saudi Arabia. People were asking, is it free? So the success of an event, it can be measured when the reach is high. The Circus Fiesta was coming from different countries. We focused on Italy, we focused on Europe. It targeted the kids and their families at the same time. So we are focusing on different age groups. At the same time, we like the kids to go and enjoy the day where they spend their learning new things, getting more benefits from a lot of workshops. So basically, entertainment, it has different concepts, different perceptions, and it's not easy to achieve the success which you are looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going back with this, and we had a quick, brief conversation before, the interaction between entertainment bringing to the next level, maybe edutainment, so cultural entertainment, and how you can keep and have a healthy tenant mix in your properties. So if you don't mind, I would like to just throw on the table a couple of real physical examples that I saw around, and another couple that I'm actually doing, of course, with my company, but I'm personally doing it. Talking about edutainment in the region. I'm doing in Europe and in Far East, wherever, but here in the region. You see in the past years, between Dubai and Abu Dhabi especially, museums, cultural events, fashion show, they are proliferating this more and more demand. And the latest one, the Opera House opening like a few weeks back. And apparently very successful, I must say. Based on that, I'm trying to, going back to give some touch of curiosity to your customer. Something that you should have in your property and should assure you a visit at least once a week from your customers to check what's new and to stimulate the curiosity. So 2 things I'm doing. One thing is I'm doing free, completely free. Going back, Mohammed, you were telling about the low budget for entertainment. Completely free joint venture. Actually, it's like a strategic partnership with European museums and art galleries. That means they are not giving to your shopping center the Mona Lisa or the Leonardo da Vinci, whatever painting. But most of museums, not only in Europe, also in the US, they have what they call like the B, the secondary piece of art, that for which they don't have enough space in the museums to show. So they are willing to give to some shopping mall owner for free for X amount of days, of weeks during the year. So they are actually paying for shipment, for insurance, and for everything. Because for them, in terms of marketing, it's a good feedback for the country, for the government, for the museum. For the shopping mall business, it's very healthy because, one, you, again, elevate the offer of entertainment. I'm not saying that you have to recreate like an art gallery or a museum. Even in some shopping malls, they are doing that in South America. There is a big example in Guadalajara, Mall of Guadalajara in Mexico, where just a quick parenthesis, where the municipality actually asked the developer, okay, I'm giving you like X amount of square meters extra from the land, but you will host the city museum in the shopping center. So, and you have, of course, a dedicated entrance, independent for the museum, and the entrance from the shopping center. This is a driver, it's a very interesting driver. So, this is one that I can see everybody can approach this kind of cultural entertainment. The other one is cultural And I know it because Mazen recently had an interesting tour in Italy for this as well. The culture related to the food, the local food, the real one, and the authentic one. So in all the countries, like I'm very familiar with India. I go to India very often. And it's easy to talk about Indian food, no. Or Thai food, no. It depends where you go, the region, the city. Same in Italy. Italian food doesn't exist. You know, if I go from Rome to see my mom, which is 1 hour away, it's completely different food. So bringing to the shopping center this kind of authenticity based on maybe Michelin star chef, or not that doesn't have a Michelin star because they are expensive, but very good international chef, maybe having social cooking classes in the mall. We have done this experience as well, putting before in a very temporary way, a cube in the middle of a corridor. And I did a partnership, this is recently, like a few weeks back, with, it's called the Italian Kitchen Academy, which is the formal official academy that every year teach to 20, 25 new young chefs how to become chef, and then they spread all over the world to work in restaurants. So in the year where the actual chefs, they are not yet chefs, but they are studying and completing the study, they will, and it's real already, they will travel around shopping centers around the world, cooking in these glass cubes, and the shopping mall will get benefit from 2 points of view. One, again, the theatrical cultural entertainment. So I see actually in the first experience we did, the footfall just stop around this glass cube as a cinema, as a theater, with the big curiosity to check what the chef is doing by himself. And then if the shopping center or the retailer, whatever, can take on board this format, this brand, this format, they can actually make good money out of that. There is a very interesting example in Florence, in downtown Florence. There is a small shopping center, downtown shopping center, if you want to call it like that, where there is this exactly the same concept, and people, Italian and tourists, they queue outside, paying 85 euros, which is a lot of money, per hour, to cook with the chef and to learn one recipe, one menu, or whatever is dedicated to that day. Now, going back to bread, do you think that this kind of mix in terms of offer, so the F&B mix, but before, jumping to another close issue is the space, the different space that you can dedicate to your shopping center to young and local entrepreneurs, either F&B or fashion, that usually, you know, as young entrepreneurs, they don't have the money to afford like very expensive location to get on the market. Do you think this trend, which is starting now in Europe and is coming here to support them, it's a good new trend to jump on it? Or?
Well, thanks, Luca. I'd like to sort of address two of the things that you talked about. So one being that, you know, creating that element of curiosity that has consumers returning time and time and time again. And those are perfect examples of how and why that works that you had given in terms of cooking classes. My wife earlier this week went to a florist with a handful of her girlfriends, and they learned how to make floral arrangements. And so much in the way that Facebook develops that personal one-on-one relationship with you, it intuitively begins to understand your likes and dislikes and feeds you things that you like. this is that one-on-one engagement that I can assure you that my wife won't buy flowers from anywhere other than that particular florist going forward, because she's developed that one-on-one relationship. Same can be said for cooking classes, for any number of opportunities where you can get that one-on-one thing. So the other thing is the question about how do we incubate or support young, passionate entrepreneurs to give them a leg up, to get them real estate that works, that helps prove their concept, helps grow their business. And it was a really very, very animated and interesting conversation at this morning's session with the Young Turks, where that very question was raised. And you know, we've got, I looked with admiration at that panel, and there are some very cool businesses that this particular group is involved in. But like any startup, unless you happen to come from a really well-off family, capital is your biggest challenge. So you might have the best idea in the world, and you might have the passion and the energy to get it going, but you need some support. So Maslin this morning did an excellent job sort of pointing out to the panel what it is that we as commercial real estate operators need to look for. In a lot of cases, maybe we're publicly traded, or there's obviously, like any business, certain return expectations. Our businesses, by their nature, are extremely capital intensive, so it's challenging for us to take a risk on a flyer or a startup that, you know, we like to be able to sort of stick with the tried and true and the proven concepts so that our risk is mitigated. But the flip side of that is the best concepts, you know, I don't know, pick a brand, pick any brand, started with one outlet. Somebody had to give them a hand up at some point in their evolution. We have an opportunity as a real estate development sector to help identify those emerging stars. But we have to do it with purpose, and we have to do it strategically. We can't just simply say, I've got a dead section of the mall that I'm having a hard time leasing. Let's just put these young startups over there and in effect throw them into the deep end and watch them drown. So I think Westfield has a program, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. I think they call it Bespoke in Westfield, San Francisco, Westfield Labs, where they strategically and purposefully work with young startups to incubate them and help them out from perhaps from an investment or an equity point of view, but also from provision of space point of view. But let's be realistic here. There are a million great ideas. There are not necessarily a million great entrepreneurs. So I think that from my point of view, from Eldar's point of view, we see this as something that we should probably study a bit more and get into in the medium term. But boy, you better come to us with a properly written business plan. You better come to us with a certain degree of sophistication, because this is a risk for us. We've spent hundreds of millions of dirhams on acquiring land, building structures, hiring expensive architects, and producing this environment. We need to mitigate that risk. So it's a little bit of a balance. But I'll tell you from what I heard from that panel this morning, those are some very passionate, smart people. That I think that is the mitigated risk in itself. So I hope I answered the question on that.
Thank you. We're not expensive, by the way.
I think that first of all, remember that there's a difference between the static space and the dynamic. So obviously the common area is still available to, let's say, play with, more to do, more so than the actual retail space, which is already given to tenants, and you cannot do much with it. So let's say that if you use the common area to the best of your ability, then that means that you've got to go towards the socializing that space. And that's where, if you look at today's world, that's where the digital actually comes in. So instead of making online the risk, if you look at social media platforms right now, there are so many YouTube bloggers and social media bloggers who are outside talking to people, and they really have no platform to be actually able to meet those people. And if you look inside malls right now, all of these social media bloggers are coming inside. Let's say a woman trying out a lipstick is ending up at Sephora and actually talking about what that lipstick does or not. And there are people swarming the mall just to come to her. And she's an independent woman. She doesn't really have a business or have a space inside Sephora, but she's just giving to come comments on expertise of that. And same is the case, this cooking thing that you were talking about would come under the umbrella of, let's say, reality shows. Now, the reality show could be to do with cooking, it could be to do with handicraft for a certain segment of the community. It could be to do with how do we take young Marathi entrepreneurs and give them ideas and combine them with people. There have been shows about Arab talent, singing competitions. So there could be so many things that could be done, combining the reality shows and the social media platforms and using all of this in the atrium space of the malls. And maybe trying to energize areas of the mall that might not be that popular and combining it with a little bit of, let's say, social giving back to the community.
Please.
Commenting on what you said, Luca, first of all, out of working experience, I think that, or out of actual practical experience, entertainment concepts that really succeed are the interactive entertainment concepts. You've mentioned the museum concept. Unfortunately, in the Arab world, irrespective how sophisticated is the education level of some of the consumers or the neighborhoods where the project is, it's not sustainable, unfortunately. It has to be funded, really funded by a government or by an independent body that is willing to go on and continue to fund on that project forever while it's not making much money. Having a temporary art show exhibition, also interesting. You remember last year in MAPEC, there was this guy proposing, I think he was from Holland, and they had like a complete collection of one of those museums, all the copies of that collection, and he was like road showing all over shopping centers and expensive hotels and yachts and big cruises. But what they were doing, which I found to be a little bit intelligent, was they were also selling those copies. I was even wondering who would be crazy to sell a copy, and he was mentioning prices of like $15,000, $20,000 for a painting. So again, summarizing, I believe that successful entertainment concepts have to be interactive, where the user, consumer has to feel that he's part of, as what you mentioned now, part of the real life show experience. Going into the combination of retailers and the ideal or the optimum retail mix in the shopping center. We have to all accept and admit that the shopping center, we have to change the name of a shopping center and maybe call it virtual reality or your life improved. Because this is really what people want. They want to go to a place, which is, in this case, would be a shopping center, or at least we want the shopping center to be that place for them. Instead of them going to watch a movie in a separate standalone movie complex, or going to enjoy an art exhibition that is a standalone art exhibition, instead of walking on a street that has nothing to do with my shopping center, instead of going and doing your nails and pedicure and whatever. So what we're doing basically is bringing all those aspects in the place. So the shopping center becomes the lifestyle place of the consumer, of the family. So that's the optimum retail mix that you need in the shopping center.
Yeah. There is actually one recent example. You were mentioning the interaction between the pure art, like can be a museum or a gallery, and the customer, the public. There is one interesting example, which I recently saw in Europe, which is an auction house in a shopping center.
That would be perfect. So actually, there are in Saudi Arabia a lot, Hamad. And auction houses in shopping centers?
Not that.
There used to be, no?
No.
I don't know, but based on that, again,
They got sold.
I was so curious about this. So I went to one of the major auctions, because now with technology, since 10 years, 15 years, they do real-time auction, whatever, depending the area of the world, the different of timing, whatever, so it's not new, it's nothing new. It's based on technology. But the interesting of the format is that you still talk and you still share art with your public, but with a twist of interaction and the interest, more interest. So I think this can be something cool for this market.
Let me just add one thing, and about having the young or new concepts, new retail concepts, like this morning, the young entrepreneurs we had on the panel. I think most of the shopping centers have now found the intelligent way or smart way of dealing with this is by having a concept store. So most probably your shopping center is leased 80%, 75%, 90%. And you have this big anchor store that nobody wants to rent and that stays there for a long time until you find this right tenant for it. And usually that store is so hidden and so far from everything and nobody wants to even go and get close to it. So the solution is to convert this space into a big concept store, and you can then invite all the young new entrepreneurs to come in and to basically display, showcase their new products. And if you're not always sure about the success and how sustainable they will be in their business. But that's an easy way, an inexpensive way of doing it. So if the space is there, it doesn't cost you much. And to do the fit out of the space, it's done so quickly with industrial lighting, and you have the showcasing happening. If they succeed, immediately they become tenants into your shopping center at whatever rate or rent rate that you will impose. They will not come and say, well, I can't afford it. No, he tasted the profits and the revenues in your shopping center, and he's now sustainable, and he's no longer a new tenant.
Thank you. She's killing me. It's 5 minutes left. So anyway, one last question for all of you, but like 30 seconds each, otherwise they kick us out. There are a lot of, in the UAE, in Saudi, Mazen, a lot of upcoming projects based on outdoor parks. So it's like suddenly nobody cares anymore about the heat and the season. Anyway, but so is real. This is happening from Dubai, Saudi. I think they have 4 or 5 big projects like the Egypt as well. Yeah. My personal fear is that, and I saw a lot of them, that these beautiful projects, in terms of idea, very soon they are becoming like a super fake copy-paste of some European villages or downtown in cities, European cities. What's your opinion on this?
So I'm from Canada, and everybody said you couldn't do an outdoor lifestyle center in Canada, and it works. It's all about the experience. It's all about the stores, the F&B. I don't think we have to be afraid of outdoor lifestyle centers in the UAE or Saudi. And just to very, very quickly, I'm so impressed with Maras in the boldness that they've shown in creating projects like Box Park, like City Walk, like the outlet villages enclosed. But whether it's working well or not, they've had the courage to step out and do that in the UAE, and hats off to them for that, and I think we should see more of that.
I think safer is to have a combination of indoor and outdoor. I believe that the concept of ABC, Ashrafia, and Beirut is one of those classical cases that has to be much more developed. They've started many years ago, and I think still very successful.
Super successful.
Well, firstly, I think we all need a lot of vitamin D, so sunlight isn't bad for us. And we've become used to the inside environment. So the outside environment is more to do with how you're dressed, where are you coming from, I mean, what do you want to do? So outdoor environment definitely has a place in the future, and people will understand how to utilize that space better. And that's what it's about. You're creating the space right now, and later on you'll find out that the same concepts which work inside a mall maybe are not the ones for the outdoor, and maybe you need to do something different.
Commenting on design, even if it's super fake, look like European style or not, but people like it. There is one example just open in Riyadh called Florenza. It's copy-paste of Florence project. It's pure F&B and people are queuing. So people are demanding, retailer like it, so it will work for a while. But I'm concentrating on F&B again, even for those. Commenting on weather, I think it's a myth. Now only from May to August, people are not going out. I'm talking about especially about Saudi, but from September till mid of May, people are enjoying outdoor. So 9 months or 8 months of the year, it's worthwhile. Even in our shopping center, new ones, we are trying to dedicate for each casual dining an outdoor terrace, which is liked by the retailers.
Thank you. Moving.
Yeah, if you look at those projects which we talked about, like not closed environment, open environment, basically the size of those projects is close to a community center or a neighborhood retail. So basically these serve as neighborhood and a community retail, in other words. Okay, but there's one element which is bigger in this is F&B. Majorly in these projects you will see 70 to 80% of the space is occupied by F&B. The rest are majorly services. Fashion tend to differ from this. They don't want to burn their hands yet. But my belief is it is a one step forward and this should work in future. And 4 to 5 months of the year, this part of the world is very normal. People can afford to sit outside. So it has a future in it.
Thank you. Nisreen.
Well, for me, I have to be objective since Mercato, the whole feel and look, it looks like outdoor area because of the light, because of the ceiling. So we are one of the oldest themed Italian malls in Dubai. I have no comment. So even people who comes from outside, they feel that they are still sitting outside because of the atrium and the lights. Architect is one very important factor, branding-wise. But at the same time, the whole ceiling, the light itself, keep the customers stay more in the mall and spend more time for shopping and enjoying the day. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much to all. Thank you.
Yeah, just before we wind up, a quick question to anyone on the panel who would like to answer that. Sorry for creating the clutter and clatter. I assume you've all seen what's happened with the pound sterling over the last couple of days. I just want a quick comment from any of you who would like to talk about that in terms of how you're viewing currency volatility at this point and how worried you are, because both retail and real estate stand to be impacted by it. And I think pricing pressure is something that a lot of people who've gathered at this conference have talked about through yesterday. How worried are you about currency volatility in this mix going into the next year?
I want to comment because I'm Egyptian and we are living through this issue the last year actually, and it's becoming very acute. It has nothing to do with the UK. It's much more serious and much more complicated. Of course, issue of foreign currency and fluctuation of currency is a major impact on all retailers and all the businesses. I will talk just about the Egyptian experience. Egyptian experience, we have almost a state of paralysis in the Egyptian economy because of that. Because any day we're expecting the Egyptian pound to soar down totally. Already versus, we talk about the dirhams and Egyptian pound, the exchange rate was 2.2, 1 dirham, 2.2 Egyptian pounds. That's the official exchange rate. Today on the black market or the parallel market, it's 1 dirham equals 3.4 pounds. This means a lot to us. All the major retailers in Egypt have stopped totally their expansion. Shopping center developers, including a company or big player like Majd Al Futtaim, with the biggest investment they have done in Egypt, the Mall of Egypt, is being delayed for a few months today because retailers are unable to bring in their new merchandise and they don't know to price it at which value. That's the thing. So this is very acute. This is like being in Brazil or Argentina 20 years ago. But I leave it to the Western people to talk about UK.
Yeah. Could we have some audio there, please?
Okay. Hi. I think I'm a retailer as well as a real estate guy, and ultimately this volatility, you need to weather the storm. That's the main. idea of it all. And obviously, you cannot weather the storm unless you partner with everybody. So I'm talking from the macro level point of view of the government, whether of Dubai or UAE or the country, and then the combination of the developers and then the retailers itself. It's a partnership. The government also has to do strategic initiatives to be able to support these issues of currency and tourism and number of people and the shopping. The developers have to be a little bit more flexible with the retailers so that they can actually tide over the tough period. And the retailers also have to come up with ideas which are less about expansion and about organic growth and more about how to try to lure the customer and make him give a bang for his buck. So it's a combination of everybody, you know. You just cannot blame the currency itself because it's like trying to say that I'm going to have to work harder for the same dollar right now. And that is from the customer to the retailer to the developer to the country. It flows down. So it's a combination of issues where everybody needs to chip in with their effort.
Okay, thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause, please, for the retail and real estate panel.